Ladies and gentlemen, to round 7 of the ILR3 Season 6 Championship. Tonight you join us in Canada, and my dog is eating a shoe. That's an excellent start to the stream, but hopefully he doesn't get too annoying, or I'll have to just let him out of the room. And as you can hear, he's decided to play with his ball. But anyway, we're at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve here in Canada, in Montreal. And this should be an excellent race. The track length is 4.361 kilometers with a race distance of about 152 kilometers as we get started to a full wet qualifying. And I know some people were saying how they did not want wet conditions for qualifying. Well, has that not gone well for them, because look at this, it is wet conditions. Will this carry through to the race? I'm not sure, but earlier this week in my other race, it went dry to wet to dry again, so you never know what's going to happen in Canada. And of course, these wet conditions are really going to spice up qualifying. I can assure you that, as it looks like a Mercedes is leaving the garage first, and that is probably... Oh, no, that's a Red Bull even. That's Paga. He's leaving his garage first. It looks like you can see the mechanic standing there. The lap record here is held by Rubens Barrichello in the Ferrari at 2004. That's a 1 minute 13.6. And it's going to be Paga first out of the pits. No, it's not. It's going to be pit to the post by a Williams. And I think that might be Game Boys. I'm not entirely sure. Or it's Quaver Cohen. I'll have a look. It's going to be Quaver. But yeah, these wet conditions are going to be very, very interesting. The first Grand Prix was held in Canada in 1978, and we will have 35 laps of excellent racing to get on with. My dog is confused as to why gravity is a thing. Right, I'm just going to let him out. I'll be right back. What an idiot. Anyway, let's get back. There's already yellow flags, and that might have even been Cohen, but I'm not sure. So we'll get back to Paga. And one thing to mention is I'm not going to be able to read the comments, because earlier I tried to connect my phone to the extender, and my Wi-Fi on my PlayStation decided to die. So I'm not going to be able to look at the comments unless I have to blue screen you. Unfortunately, that is always going to happen in this room. It's just so far from the Wi-Fi box, I can't even connect to my normal Wi-Fi from here. That's Paga going straight back into the pits now then. Who's on an outlap? We'll ride on board with Owen Wyatt then. There's someone in front of him, but we'll stay with Owen. Right then, full throttle towards the line. Only on ERS mode 4. Want to keep that wheel spin minimal in the wet conditions. No gear 8 around here, all the way down to gear 3 for turn 1, which is followed swiftly by turn 2, which is a long right-hander, and it just doesn't seem to end. But then when it does, a bit of the standing water for Owen here, which there is quite a lot, through turns 3 and 4. Lots of oversteer. Can he save it? Yes, he's managed to keep it out of the barrier as well, rather impressive, but it's not going to be the fastest lap from the Irish driver this evening. Heavy braking, or Northern Irish I should say, into turns 6 and 7. Turn 5 is that right-hander. Verstappen having a sounding lip, so he's going to be restarting the game, but it looks like we're going to have a full grid tonight, which is absolutely fantastic news. That's why he's leaving. Turns 8 through 9 now. What kind of speed can we get through here? Just try and keep it straight. That's the problem, especially in full wet conditions. Heading towards turn number 10, the hairpin. Heavy braking. The wet weather does look very nice in this game. Trying to keep it nice and tidy, then flat out on the exit. Well, a bit gentle actually, seeing as we are in wet conditions. Now then, heading towards the final couple of turns, 13 and 14, of course, 11 and 12 with that left-right breeze. Not really turns, in my opinion. Through to the Wall of Champions. Will that claim the Red Bull tonight? It doesn't look like it, although it was very close. Kern with a 122.4 fastest lap so far. Across the line, it's going to be a 123.2 for Owen, but Josh Mayer saying a 121.6 as CJ6 beats that with a 120.8, as that is a big moment there for Owen. He is not going to be too happy with that. That was rather scary, as he's nearly taken out Josh there. That would have made this driver poo himself, I can assure you. That's going to weigh down the cars. The aerodynamicists will not be too happy about that. But CJ6 in second so far. Let's have a look who's out on track. It's going to be Lewis. He's heading towards the line. through the wall of champions chicane. Verstappen has joined the session again. Still towards the line. What kind of lap time can Lewis set here? He's low on ERS. And he's going to have to go down to 0 before the line. It's going to be a 1:21.1 as there goes ILRGT with a 1:20.8 dead. And lots of drivers setting lap times now. Here is QVR Campbell, but Kryptonite's first to approach the line. This looks like it's a hot lap. Yes, it is, as he goes through there in the Alfa Romeo, keeping it nice and safe rather than dangerous, keeping it as close to the right as possible, minimising the run to the line. It's going to be a 1:21.622, exactly the same time as Josh Mayer. That is very impressive, both the 1:21.622. That is, you can't get closer than that, can you? But here comes QVR Campbell. Paga is on an outlap. Here he comes then in the red Ferrari towards the line. There's the yellow flags in Sector 2. Then towards turns 13 and 14, then heavy braking through the right, then out of the left, keeping it on the track. That's always ideal, which he's managed to do towards the line then, moving all the way to the left-hand side, and he's going to go for another lap. Dougie Falcons in Sector 2, whereas Khan Racer, I believe he's reserving tonight, in the racing point, heading through Sector 3 now towards the final couple of turns. Everyone's setting their banker lap times in the wet. You don't want to crash just yet. That would not be good for the qualifying session. But across the line then, what can Khan Racer set? It's going to be the fastest lap with a 1:20.6. Very impressive from the Williams, as a Game Boy, from the Williams, from the racing point even. Whatever the hell it's called. But that was meant to be a Kimi Raikkonen accent. But it didn't sound anything like that. Then Dougie Falcons across the line. It's going to be 6th there with a 1:21.1. The driver's actually very close in these wet conditions. That is quite interesting. That's going to make it very interesting for the race. But this is the championship leader in the garage right now. That Renault just heading back in. He may have sustained some damage at some point in the lap. But we'll watch QVR Campbell because he's heading towards the line. In the meantime, I'll have a quick look at this comment actually. I'll blue screen you. Hopefully that's not too bad. Hey, Matt JHS, I think. Oh, God. Hello, Matt. I hope you're looking forward to the stream tonight. It should be a good one. I do love Canada, or as I do like to call it, the Chicane Grand Prix, because of the sheer amount of chicanes. As I cross the line, it's going to be a 1:21.4 for QVR Campbell. Not too far off Tomo. He's just a bit ahead, as it looks like ILRGT managed to improve. I'll look at those comments in just a second. Here comes Tomo. I can't get the stream up on my phone because of my Wi-Fi and all that jazz. Towards the line then, there goes Tomo. He's going to go straight on into the pit lane. And that is one area where you can catch other drivers out if you go into the pits. And look at this. That's a bit of a traffic jam at turn 1. And that was, I think, Owen Wyatt, as well as, I want to say Deneen. Yeah, as well as Deneen. That did not look too good. And I think that's the Ginger 21 passing through there. Spaghetti Chips is going into turn 1. And that is the championship leader here, Dropye. And I'll have a quick look at these comments. Sorry about this. Alright, Onyx. There we go. Hello, AJ, and welcome, Skyzy. Quaver for the win. Go Dropye, says Skyzy. Dropye then, championship leader. He's raced in 3 races, and he has a track record of winning every single race this season that he's raced in. He won Baku, he won Spain, and he won Monaco. Can he win here in France? That is the question. Dropye is in the lead of the championship with 75 points. Paga on 68, just behind him. Then Verstappen on 62. Spaghetti Chips on 48. 1 point behind him is Tomo. Then CJ Slicks on 36. That's a bit of a rhyme. LR Deneen 69 on 35. Dougie Falcons on 32. Also on 32 is Lawmans. Owen Wyatt on 31. QVR FC Game Boys on 24. 22 points has Kryptonite. The Ginger 21 on 20. Josh Mayer on 17. 15 for Alice Killer. 14 for Terror Racer. QVR Campbell on 4. Cohen on 1. Pedersolheim 3620 on 1. And Lewis on 0. He hasn't started any races this season. There's the LA flags in Sector 2. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I don't even know what I'm doing there. But anyway, just 3 drivers who haven't set lap times yet. Paga's just starting his lap. Dropye's heading through Sector 3 now. And I've managed to improve my methods of having water. I've now got a water bladder, which is actually really useful. Game Boy is not with the fast lap there, a 1:29.1. Better than nothing though, as he improves that to a 1:22.4. just a few hundredths of a second off Owen Wyatt. The good thing about a water bladder is it's literally within reach. I'm hanging off the back of my chair. It probably looks a bit ridiculous if you could see what's going on here. As Dropier, true to his name, sets the fastest lap with a 1:20.2, and that's going to be provisional pole position as he does a little victory drift. Although that might be a bit of an early celebration, and it probably wasn't intentional. At least he made it look good. And I think Lormans was just behind him. No, that was Deneen actually, but here comes Lormans across the line. He's 1:21.6. He's going to improve to a 1:21.1 for 0.4 second improvement there. It is all very close between these drivers actually. Look at that, just 1 second separating the top 10, 1.5 seconds separating the top 17 as someone else improves just ahead of Lormans, and I think that might have been Dougie or Lewis. Lewis has yet to start a race apparently, although I think the championship may be wrong in that. In fact, I'm going to get rid of the UI thing. I always forget to do that. It just looks horrible as there's yellow flags in Sector 2. Not entirely sure why that is, but Verstappen is ahead of us there. It is all quite close. We get the lap times back up then. I didn't actually realise you could see the gap to the leader. Lewis towards the line then. He's also actually on an in lap, so we'll find someone who's not. Someone who's on a hot lap is what I mean. And it's going to be Khan Racer. Khan has got decent pace here with a 1:20.6 so far. He's still got a bit of room to improve, but not much. Yellow flags being waved in Sector 3 as they've been cleared. Tianato Pedro obviously letting drivers through. And that is Khan out of fuel. Let me know then your predictions for the race tonight as Lewis is about to start a lap. He was 30 seconds down on his out lap. And that is one of the Renaults pulling into the garage. Or as I like to call it, the Ren boat. But whatever floats your boat. And indeed, floating might be quite a cause for concern for some of these drivers due to how wet these conditions are. And as the in-game commentators like to say, it's not going to be plain sailing in this qualifying session, but sailing may not be too far from the truth. Indeed, that is rather true as there goes Kern into the pits. This is Torpedro, he's in Sector 2, Wyatt's on an outlap. LR Deneen heading into the pits there as well. Pagger's in Sector 2, but Dropier heading towards the line. Can he improve? He's currently in third. He improves to pole position with a 1:19.8, so the line is definitely drying. What a lap there from the Renault driver. He will be rather chuffed with that. The first driver to break through the 1:20 barrier. And it's going to be interesting, actually, having a full grid, because even in ILR, that's not something we always get. And Pagger's a second down in that sector. Verstappen also going slowly. Let's find someone who's not going slowly. That would be nice. Lewis in the pits. You can't get much slower than that. Yellow flags in Sector 3. Not quite sure why, but we'll watch Tomo because he's in 13th, my lucky number. And there's a Renault kind of missing the chicane there, turns 8 and 9. Through turn 10 then. The rain is still relentless. I can't tell. I don't think it's backing off anytime soon, but the dry line is definitely showing. Although I say dry line, it's not exactly dry, but it's not as wet. One thing in the wet though is if you're following a driver closely, the spray kicked up can actually distract you and make it harder for you to see your braking points and everything. So that is one thing, but I'm sure the drivers are much more practiced than I am when I hop into a race, and that probably doesn't affect them as much. As up into 10th goes Tomo, who is just 0.02 of a second quicker than Dougie Falcons. Good lap there from the Mercedes driver. And here comes CJ Slicks. Oh, bit of oversteer there. He touched the curb. It wasn't enough to crash him out, and he's going to improve, but not any positions, or maybe one position actually. He's in 6th now. Dropier still in the lead then. Josh Mayer in Sector 1, heading through to Sector 2, so he goes through turn 5. This is going to be an interesting race if what qualifying is anything to go by. And Spaghetti Chips in 18th place with a 1:21.8 so far. Can he improve? He's up half a second there. That will put him, give me a sec, that will put him up into 14th place. He needs to find a bit more time than that, but that was only in Sector 1. Through Sector 2 then, what can he do? The top 8 only separated by a second now, as the top gaps do start to climb ever more. Through turn 10 goes Spaghetti Chips into the hairpin. Wall of Champions is the one to watch at this track. It is always easy to just clip your front wing if you get a bit too greedy with the curb or get a little bit of oversteer. People like to tap the rear of their car on the back of that. A bit like the exit of turn 15 at Baku, from what I've seen anyway. Through turns 14, no, never mind, because Spaghetti Chips has decided to go into the pits. Even though there's only 2.5 minutes left, it's going to be a bit of a push to get back out again on new tyres. Unless he's going to stay like that, I'm not entirely sure. Drop the 8 on an in-lap then. Who's on an out-lap? The Ginger 21-21 heading along the main, or back straight now, towards the start-finish straight into turn 13 and 14. Never mind, he's shot into the pits there. That was an absolute ridiculous speed, it looked like. I'm not sure how he hasn't got a warning or anything about that. Jeez, man. That was pretty hot into the pit lane. I'm sure you can find a video about that somewhere, although not on this particular platform. Yellow flags in Sector 1 then. And Alex Killer only in ERS mode 3. Makes you wonder if he's struggling with the traction. And as I say that, he has a big tank slapper on the exit of turn 5. So it looks like, yeah, in the wet though, ERS not too hard to save, as that's Dougie, I want to say. No, it's the other. It's Kryptonite who was going slowly there. I can't tell if he's got damage. In fact, he's decided to go out onto the inters, and other drivers are going out onto the inters, so the rain has definitely let off. We can see that from the cameras then. Through turn 2 goes Owen, but into turn 1 goes Drop the A. It looks like the inters are the way to go now. Kryptonite on the intermediate tyres himself. He's not on a hot lap just yet, but he will be soon, as Khan, Racer and CJ6 all retiring, as there's a full course yellow, it looks like. Drop Ye retiring from the session. And that might just be because he can't improve. Torpedo retiring as well. There's only a minute left. This is their last chance. Alice Killer on the wet towards the line. Can he improve it? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to. In fact, he's at 1.4 seconds there. He's going to have one more shot at a hot lap. Here comes Verstappen. He's only in Sector 2 though. Let's have a look at someone in Sector 3, and this is Paga Neas. He's up 1.5 tenths of a second. Can he increase that to 2.5 tenths of a second? He might be able to take pole here. It's going to take a big push through turns 13 and 14. It's going to be so close at the top here. He'll probably be able to take second. Can he take third? It is all down to the final turn. Out of turn 14 he goes then towards the line. He crosses it to only take second, just 0.03 of a second off the top spot. Deneen is going to come back with a vengeance though. He's in Sector 1 though. Here comes Verstappen in Sector 3. Heavy braking into turns 13 and 14. ERS mode 5. He's on the intermediate tyres. He's 0.4 of a second off Paga. Now across the line, it's going to be third place for the Ferrari driver. Let's have a look then. Deneen not quite able to settle lap. Paga through turns 6 and 7. He might be going for a second lap here. I'm not sure he's going to be able to, but Dougie Falcons takes pole position so far with a 1:19.8, just 48 hundredths of a second, or 48 thousandths of a second faster than Drop Ye. Here comes Elor Deneen then. He is just outside that 1:19 barrier. Can he get into it? He only has to find a few tenths of a second this lap to take pole position of Dougie, because Drop Ye is not in contention towards turn 13 then. It is all down to the final turn. Josh Mayer is even Lewis close behind him. Cross the line though, there goes Deneen, and he takes pole position there. Lewis in second with a 1:19.3 from Deneen. Paga across the line then. What kind of lap time can he set? It's going to be pole position for the Red Bull. A 1:19.1 as the other Red Bull takes third, and it's going to be Kryptonite next to cross the line to take 14th, and that is the end of the qualifying session. And it doesn't get closer than that. That is probably the most intense end to qualifying I have ever seen, and there was 0.02 of a second between CJ and QVR Campbell, and it looks like we're set for an absolute cracker of a race this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm thirsty after that. Let me know your race predictions now as I get some XP for some reason. 5 position grid penalty for Owen Wyatt though. But the qualifying order, it's going to be Paganez 21, Lelard Dunedin 69, Owen Wyatt 15, Lewis 11004, Daggy Falcons 97, Drop the 8518, D43, Tomo, Verstappen RB 33, Josh Mayer, CJ6, QVR Campbell, World Calm Racer, Alice Killer 150, Kryptonite, The Ginger 2121, Norman's Tina, Tor Pedro, QVR Cone Blige, Spaghetti Chips, and QVR FC Game Boys rounding off the grid. Let's get ready for this evening's race then, and I have never been more pumped. Second in qualifying, he is very happy about that, Deneen. And rightly so, that probably makes him horny. That weird sound in the background, by the way, is me drinking water. And no, I do know how to drink properly, it's just the tube I'm drinking it from. And don't worry, I'm not in hospital. But it's going to be a dry race this evening. And looking up into the sky, it's probably going to stay that way. So